Both of them died. It would have been better not to start that. After this incident, Vasistha took birth again, begotten by Mitra and Varuna, who were agitated by Urdhvasa. The priests who were engaged in the sacrifice for King Nimi perceived Nimi's body in fragrant chemicals. When the sacrifice was over, the priest prayed for Nimi's life to all the demigods who had come to the arena of Yajna. But Maharaj Nimi refused to take birth in a material body because he considered the material body obnoxious. The great sages then churned Nimi's body, and as a result of this churning, Janaka was born. The son of Janaka was Uddavasu, and the son of Uddavasu was Nandivardhana. The son of Nandivardhana was Suketu, and his descendants continued as follows: Devarata, Brihadrata, Mahavirya, Sudhriti, Dristaketu, Haryasva, Madhu, Pratipaka, Kritarata, Devam Nidya, Vishruta, Mahadriti, Kritirata, Maharoma, Swarnaroma, Rasvaroma, Shiradwaja. All these sons appeared in the dynasty one after another. From Shiradwaja, Mother Sita Devi was born. Shiradwaja's son was Kushadwaja, and the son of Kushadwaja was Dharmadwaja. The sons of Dharmadwaja were Kritadwaja, Mitadwaja. The son of Kritadwaja was Kesidwaja, and the son of Mitadwaja was Kandikya. Kesidwaja was a self-realized soul. Excuse me. And his son was Banuman, whose descendants were all as follows: Satyadumya, Suchi, Sanadwaja, Urjaketu, Aja, Purujit, Aristanemi, Shrutayu, Supraswaka, Chitrarata, Shimadi, Samarata, Satyarata, Upaguru, Upagupta, Vasvananta, Yudhya, Subhasana, Shruta, Jaya, Vijaya, Rita, Sunaka, Vitahavya, Dhriti, Bahulasva, Kriti, and Mahavasi. All of these sons were great self-controlled personalities. This complete this completes the list of the entire dynasty. Excuse me. Text 1. Sri Sukha Uvasha. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, after beginning sacrifices, Maharaja Nimi, the son of Ikshvaku, requested the great sage Vasista to take the post of chief priest. At that time, Vasista replied, "My dear Maharaj Nimi, I have already accepted the same post in a sacrifice begun by Lord Indra." Text number 2. I shall return here after finishing the yajna for Indra. Kindly wait for me until then. Maharaj Nimi remained silent. And Vasista began to perform the sacrifice for Lord Indra. Text number 3. Maharaj Nimi, being a self-realized soul, considered that this life is flickering. Therefore, instead of waiting long for Vasista, he began performing the sacrifice with other priests. Uh-oh, it's going to be a problem. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chanakya Pandit says, Sariram Shana Ved Vid Vamsi Kalpanta Sti Ayino Guna. The duration of one's life in the material world may end at any moment. But if within this life one does something worthy, that qualification is depicted in history eternity. Here is a great personality, Maharaja Nimi, who knew this fact. In the human form of life, one should perform activities in such a way that at the end he goes back home, back to Godhead. This is self-realization. Text number 4. After completing the sacrificial performance for King Indra, his spiritual master, Vasista, returned and found that his disciple, Maharaj Nimi, had disobeyed his instructions. Thus Vasista cursed him, saying, "May the material body of Nimi, who considers himself learned, immediately fall." Well, killed him. Terrible. Text number 5. For unnecessarily cursing him when he had committed no offense, Maharaj Nimi counter-cursed his spiritual master. Wow. For the sake of getting contributions from the King of Heaven, he said, "You have lost your religious intelligence. Therefore, I pronounce this curse, your body also will fall." Wow. Purport. The religious principle for a Brahmana is that he should not be greedy at all. In this case, however, for the sake of more lucrative remunerations from the King of Heaven, Vasista neglected Maharaja Nimi's request on this plan. And when Nimi performed the sacrifices with other priests, Vasista unnecessarily cursed him. When one is infected by contaminated activities, His power, material or spiritual, reduces. Although Vasista was the spiritual master of Maharaj Nimi, because of his greed, he became fallen.
Some water.
Yeah. Text number 6. After saying this, Maharaj Nimi, who was expert in the science of spiritual knowledge, gave up his body. Vasista, the great grandfather, gave up his body also. But through the semen discharged by Mitra and Varuna, when they saw Udvasi, he was born again. Oh, interesting. Mitra and Varuna, purport. Mitra and Varuna chanced to meet Urvasi, the most beautiful prostitute of the heavenly kingdom, and they became lusty. Because they were great saints, they tried to control the lust, but they could not do so, and thus they discharged semen. This semen was kept carefully in a water pot, and Vasista was born from it. Text number 7. During the performance of the yajna, the body relinquished by Maharaj Nimi was preserved in fragrant substances. And at the end of the Satra Yaga, the great saints and Brahmanas made the following request to all the demigods assembled there. Text number 8. Excuse me. If you are satisfied with this sacrifice, and if you are actually able to do so, kindly bring Maharaj Nimi back to life in this body. The demigods said yes to this request by the sages, but Maharaj Nimi said, please do not imprison me again in a material body. Wow. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The demigods are in a position many times higher than that of human beings. Therefore, although the great saints and sages were also powerful Brahmanas, they requested the demigods to revive Maharaj Nimi's body, which had been preserved in various perfumed balms. One should not think that the demigods are powerful only in enjoying the senses. They are also powerful in such deeds as bringing life back to a dead body. Wow. There are many similar instances in the Vedic literature. For example, according to the history of Savitri and Satyavan, Satyavan died and was being taken away by Yamaraja. But on the request of his wife, Savitri, Satyavan was revived in the same body. This is an important fact about the power of the demigods. Text number 9. Maharaj Nimi continued, Mayavadis generally want freedom from accepting a material body because they fear having to give it up again. But devotees whose intelligence is always filled with the service of the Lord are unafraid. Indeed, they take advantage of the body to render transcendental loving service. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Nimi did not want to accept the material body, which would be a cause of bondage, because he was a devotee. He wanted a body by which he could render devotional service to the Lord. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Janmao bi more icha yaditora bhakta grihe jani janma ha yu mora kita janma ha u yata tuya dasa. My Lord, if you want me to take birth and accept a material body again, kindly do me a favor. Allow me to take birth in a home of your servant. You, your devotee. I do not mind being born there, even as an insignificant creature, like an insect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamane Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktira Aitaki Twai. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you. Shastika, or by saying life after life, Janmani Janmani, the Lord referred not to an ordinary birth, but a birth in which to remember the ministry of the Lord. Such a body is desirable. A devotee does not think like yogis and jnanis who want to refuse a material body and become one with the impersonal Brahman, effulgence. A devotee does not like this idea. On the contrary, he will accept any body, material or spiritual, for he wants to serve the Lord. This is real liberation. Okay. If one has a strong desire to serve the Lord, even if he accepts a material body, there is no cause of anxiety, since a devotee, even in a material body, is a liberated soul. Wow. If he accepts a material body, there is no cause of anxiety, since a devotee, even in a material body, is a liberated soul. This is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa jira nikhilas vapi avasta su jivan mukta sa uchate. A person acting in Krishna consciousness, or in other words, in the service of Krishna, with his body, mind, intelligence, and words, is a liberated person, even within the material world. Although he may be engaged in many so-called material activities, the desire to serve the Lord establishes one as liberated in any condition of life. Wow, it's such an important statement. Whether in a spiritual body or a material body. In a spiritual body, the devotee becomes a direct associate of the Lord. But even though a devotee may superficially appear to be in a material body, he is always liberated and is engaged in the same duties of service to the Lord as a devotee in Vaikuntha Loka. Very, very profound statement here. There is no distinction, it is said, No, there's no distinction. It is said, Sadur Jivo Va Maro Va. Whether a devotee is alive or dead, his only concern is to serve the Lord. Chakvadeham Punarajanma 90 When he gives up his body, he goes directly to become an associate of the Lord and serve him. Although he does the same thing even in a material body in the material world. For a devotee, there is no pain, pleasure, or material perfection. One may argue that at the time of death, a devotee also suffers because of giving up his material body. But in this connection, the example may be given that a cat carries a mouse in its mouth and also carries a kitten in its mouth. Both the mouse and the kitten are carried in the same mouth, but the perception of the mouse is different for that of, from that of the kitten. When a devotee gives up his body, Chakradeham, he is ready to go back home, back to Godhead. Thus, his perception is certainly different from that of a person being taken away by Yamaraja for punishment. A person whose intelligence is always concentrated upon the service of the Lord is unafraid of accepting a material body, whereas a non-devotee, having no engagement in the service of the Lord, is very much afraid of accepting a material body or giving up his present one. Therefore, we should follow the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mama Janmani, Janmanishware, Bhavatat Bhakti Ahaita Kitwayi. It doesn't matter whether we accept a material body or a spiritual body. Our only ambition should be to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, very profound statement. Very, very profound statement. Text number 10. Sorry. I do not wish to accept a material body, for such a body is the source of all distress, lamentation, and fear, everywhere in the universe, just as it is for a fish in the water, which lives always in anxiety because of fear of death. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material body, whether in a higher or lower planetary system, is destined to die. In the lower planetary system or lower species of life, one may die soon. And in the higher planets or higher species, one may live for a long, long time. But death is inevitable. This fact should be understood. In the human form of life, one should take the opportunity to put an end to birth, death, old age, and disease by performing tapasya. This is the aim of human civilization, to stop the repetition of birth and death, which is called Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. This can be done only when one is Krishna conscious or has achieved the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. Yeah, very important. Otherwise, one must rot in this material world and accept the material body subject to birth, death, old age, and disease. The example given here is that water is a very nice place for a fish. But the fish is never free from anxiety about death, since big fish are always eager to eat the small fish. Falguni tatsha mahatam. All living entities are eaten by bigger living entities. This is the way of material nature. Ahastani sahastanam, apadani chatuspadam, falguni tatra mahatam, jiva jivasya jivanam. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong. And the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. Bhagavatam 1.13.47. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has created the material world in such a way that one living entity is food for another. Thus, there is a struggle for existence. But although we speak of survival of the fittest, no one can escape death without becoming a devotee of the Lord. No one can escape death without becoming a devotee of the Lord. Harim vina naiva shritim taranti. One cannot escape the cycle of birth and death without becoming a devotee. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.3. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartamani. One who does not attain shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna must certainly wander up and down within the cycle of birth and death. Text number 11. The demigod said, "Let Maharaj Nemi live without a material body. Let him live in a spiritual body as a personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Wow. And according to his desire, let him be manifest or unmanifest to common materially embodied people. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demigods wanted Maharaj Nemi to come to life, but Maharaj Nemi did not want to accept another material body. Under the circumstances, the demigods, having been requested by the saintly persons, gave him the benediction that he would be able to stay in his spiritual body. There are two kinds of spiritual bodies, as generally understood by common men. The term spiritual body is sometimes taken to refer to a ghostly body. An impious man who dies after sinful activities is sometimes condemned so that he cannot possess a gross material body of five material elements, but must live in a subtle body of mind, intelligence, and ego. However, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, devotees can give up the material body and attain a spiritual body free from all material tinges, gross and subtle. Jakvadeham punarjanma naitimam eti sarjana. Thus, the demigods gave King Nimi the benediction that he would be able to stay in a purely spiritual body, free from all gross and subtle material contamination. Wow. The Supreme Personality Godhead can be seen or unseen according to his own transcendental desire. Similarly, a devotee, being Jivan Mukta, can be seen or not as he chooses. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Naham Prakasa Sarvasya Yogamaya Samandrita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is not manifest to everyone and anyone. To the common man, he is unseen. Atakshi Krishna Nama Dina Bhavedvayam Indriya. Krishna, excuse me, excuse me. To the common man, he is unseen. Atakshi Krishna Nama Dina Bhavedvayam Indriya. Krishna and his name, fame, qualities, and paraphernalia cannot be materially understood unless one is advanced in spiritual life. Seva Mukhehi Jivado, one cannot see Krishna. Therefore, therefore, the ability to see Krishna depends on Krishna's mercy. The same privilege of being seen or unseen according to one's own desire was given to Maharaj Nimi. Thus, he lived in his original spiritual body as an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text number 12. Thereafter, to save the people from danger of an unregulated government, the sages turned Maharaj Nimi's mature body, from which, as a result, a son was born. Haribol. Arajaka Bayam. If the government is unsteady and unregulated, there is danger of fear for the people. At the present moment, this danger always exists because of government by the people. Here we can see that the great safety got a son from Nimi's material body to guide the citizens properly. For such guidance is the duty of a Kshatriya king. A Kshatriya is one who saves the citizens from being injured. In the so-called people's government, there is no trained Kshatriya king. As soon as someone strong accumulates votes, he becomes the minister or president. Without training from the learned Brahmanas, expert in the Shastras, indeed, we see that in some countries the government changes from party to party, and therefore the men in charge of the government are more eager to protect their position than to see that the citizens are happy. The Vedic civilization prefers monarchy. Prabhupada has always said that. The Vedic civilization prefers monarchy. People like the government of Lord Ramachandra, the government of Maharaj Yudhisthira, and the governments of Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Ambarisha, and Maharaja Prahlada. Prabhupada also explains that, this, what you would call, uh, people being winning what you call votes, and then they become the position of managing the country is not good. He preferred he didn't like that type of system. He liked the system of highly trained devotees dedicated to serving the Lord and also serving uh, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He didn't like these, the every 4 years someone is, holds a position, and then he might get another 4 years, and then it's finished. Okay, there are many instances of excellent government under a monarch. Gradually, the democratic government is becoming unfit for the needs of the people. And therefore, some parties are trying to elect a dictator. A dictatorship is the same as a monarchy, but without a trained leader. Actually, people will be happy when a trained leader, whether a monarch or a dictator, takes control of the government. See, that's what Prabhupada has always said. Actually, people will be happy when a trained leader, whether a monarch or a dictator, takes control of the government and rules the people according to the standard regulations of the authorized scriptures. Yeah, he didn't like the changing of of the position. Like 4 years, and uh, or 4 years, or two times 4 years in a position, then you have to give up, do something else. No, he liked the idea of a monarch or a dictator, as long who takes control of the government, as long as they follow the standard regulations of authorized scripture. Text number 13. Because he was born in an unusual way, the son was called Janaka, and because he was born from the dead body of his father, he was known as Vaideva. Because he was born from the churning of his father's material body, he was known as Mithila. And because he constructed a city as King Mithila, the city was called Mithila. Text 14. O King Parikshit, from Mithila came a son named Udavasu. From Udavasu, Nandivardhana. From Nandivardhana, Suketu. And from Suketu, Devarata. From Devarata came a son named Brihadrata, and from Brihadrata a son named Mahavirya, who became the father of Sudriti. The son of Sudriti was known as Dristaketu, and from Dristaketu came Haryasva, and from Haryasva came a son named Madhu. Text 16. The son of Madhu was Pratipaka, and the son of Pratipaka was Kritarata. And from Kritarata came Devamidya, and from Devamidya, Vishruta, and from Vishruta, Mahadriti. Text 17. From Mahadriti was born a son named Kirtirata. And from Kirtirata was born Maharoma. And from Maharoma came a son named Swarnaroma, and from Swarnaroma came Hrasvaroma. Text 18. From Hrasvaroma came a son named Shiradwaja, also called Janaka. When Shiradwaja was plowing a field, from the front of his plow, in other words, his plow, or his, also known as a sira, appeared a daughter named Sita Devi, who later became the wife of Lord Ramachandra. Thus, he was known as Siradwaja. The son of Siradwaja was Kusadwaja, and the son of Kusadwaja was King Dharmadwaja, who had two sons named Kritadwaja and Mitadwaja. Text 20 and 21. O Maharaj Pariksit, the son of Kritadwaja was Kesidwaja, and the son of Mitadwaja was Kandikya. The son of Kritadwaja was expert in spiritual knowledge, and the son of Mitadwaja was expert in Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Kandikya fled in fear of Kesidwaja. The son of Kesidwaja was Banuman, and the son of Banuman was Satadumya. Text 22. The son of Satadumya was named Suchi. From Suchi, Sanadwaja was born. And from Sanadwaja came a son named Urjaketu. The son of Urjaketu was Aja, and the son of Aja was Purujit. Text 23. The son of Purujit was Aristaneni, and his son was Shrutaya. Shrutaya begot a son named Suparswaka, and Suparswaka begot Chitraratha. The son of Chitraratha was Shemamadi, who became the king of Mithila. Text 24. The son of Shemadi was Samarata, and his son was Satyarata. The son of Satyarata was Upaguru, and the son of Upaguru was Upagupta, a partial expansion of the fire god. Text 25. The son of Upagupta was Vasvananta. The son of Vasvananta was Yudhya. The son of Yudhya was Subhasana. And the son of Subhasana was Shruta. The son of Shruta was Jaya, from whom there came Vijaya. The son of Vijaya was Rita. The son of Rita was Sunaka. The son of Sunaka was Vitahavya. The son of Vitahavya was Dhriti. And the son of Dhriti was Bahulasva. The son of Bahulasva was Kirti. And his son was Mahavasi. Sukadeva Goswami said, my dear King Pariksit, all the kings of the dynasty of Mithila were completely in knowledge of their spiritual identity. Therefore, even though staying at home, they were liberated from the duality of material existence. Wow. very good people. This material world is called Dvaita, or duality. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 4.176 says, Dvaita Bhadra Jana Sabha Manudharma, E Baba, E Manda, E Sabha Brahma. In the world of duality, that is to say, in the material world, that is to say, in the material world, so called goodness and badness are both the same. Therefore, in this world, to distinguish between good and bad, happiness and distress is meaningless because they are both mental concoctions, manodharma. Because everything here is miserable and troublesome, to create an artificial situation and pretend it to be full of happiness is simply illusion. Wow, major point. The liberated person, being above the influence of the three modes of material nature, is unaffected by such dualities in all circumstances. He remains Krishna conscious by tolerating so called happiness and distress. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Mantra sparsastu konteya, sitosna sukadukadaha, agama payino nityas, tam satiksha swamavata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. There it is. So we should become stoic, not determined, not disturbed by goodness or passion or whatever, any conditions. Always be steady in one's regulative uh, duties. Those who are liberated, being on the transcendental platform of rendering service to the Lord, do not care about so called happiness and distress. They know that these are like the changing seasons, which are perceivable by contact with the material body. Happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, a Pandita, a learned man, is not concerned with them. As is said, Gatasam Agatasam Cha Nana Sochanti Pandita. The body is dead from the very beginning, because it is a lump of matter and has no feelings of happiness and distress. Because the soul within the body is in the bodily concept of life, he suffers happiness and distress. But these come and go. It is understood herewith that the kings born in the dynasty of Mithila were all liberated persons, unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress of this world. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the 9th canto, 13th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Dynasty of Maharaj Nimi. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I think our time is up.
Yes, Maharaj, we are at time almost.
Yeah. Are there any questions or comments, my dear devotees? Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
And Happy Krishna consciousness birthday today. And Pranam Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
You're welcome. Maharaj, my question is how could Savitri get her husband's soul back from Yamraj? I mean, that is something very impossible to do once a person is gone from this material world. Can you please explain? Thank you.
Well, it's because the the purity of a woman is very important. And when there is a pure woman, she has supernatural powers. That's the power of a woman who is completely dedicated to serving the Lord. She develops supreme, or not supreme, but she develops uh, supernatural powers. And thus, she can even bring a dead person back alive. Women have such powers if they are completely pure. Even though they may have children, but they don't engage in any illicit activities. They're completely dedicated in the service of Krishna. So they develop these supernatural powers because of their complete dedication to serving Krishna. And we see that, like there's so many famous women in the history of this, the history of such as um, like for example, so many pure women were able to even bring dead people back alive because of their absolute purity in devotional service. Actually, women oftentimes are more spiritually, let's say, powerful than men because of their complete dedication to serving Krishna. So, even to the point where her husband may die, but because of her purity, she can bring back her husband who died and bring him back again. So there's several examples of that in the Vedic history of women's husband who died, and because of the purity of the wife, her husband was brought back again to life. Women have special powers, more so than men, if they are completely dedicated to serving Krishna with love and devotion. So we should, and we see in the Vedic history, there are these tremendous women who have lived in the Vedic times and who did miraculous things. So that type of power is developed by purity of love for Krishna, not by any physical exercise or any intellectual exercise, anything like that. It's by purity of love for Krishna. And women are most of the time more spiritually potent than men. So we don't really know our own potential. It's only when we become Krishna conscious that we begin to recognize that we can develop such powers, not by uh, knowledge, not by uh, any other means, but only by pure love and devotion for Krishna.
Haribol.
Haribol. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Jai Mataji. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Maharaj, Maharaj, it's a humble of this Dandavat Pranam. I wish you a very, very happy Krishna conscious birthday to you, Maharaj. I am Champak Gopi, Mataji's sister, Josna from India, Hyderabad, Maharaj.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to see you, and I'm so happy that you are doing very well, Maharaj.
Yeah, I'm
I
80.
sincerely pray to Radha Madan Mohan on your birthday to wish you, to bless you with good health and happiness in Krishna consciousness and lots of spiritual progress, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you very, very much. I really
Please,
appreciate that.
please visit Hyderabad, Maharaj. Please visit and bless us.
I'll try. I'll try
Yeah, yeah.
by Krishna's mercy.
Yes, I'm so happy to see you today on your
Hare.
special day.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, Ki Jai.
Jai,
Yeah.
Jai. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Hari.
Okay, any other questions, comments? So our takeaway for today is the following. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception. O Skyan Okarta, one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Those who are liberated, being on the transcendental platform of rendering service to the Lord, do not care about so-called happiness and distress. They know that these are like changing seasons, which are perceivable by contact with the material body. Happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, a pandita, a learned man, is not concerned with them. As it is said, Gatasan agatasanuscha nanasochandi pandita. The body is dead from the very beginning because it is a lump of matter. It has no feelings of happiness and distress because the soul within the body is in the bodily concept of life. He suffers happiness and distress, but these come and go. It is understood herewith that the kings born in the dynasty of Mithila were all liberated persons, unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress of this world. So that's actually very, very profound understanding that when one becomes free of dualities and is uniquely dedicated to serving Krishna and Guru with love and devotion, one is no longer in a mundane consciousness. One develops a supernatural spiritual consciousness. That's why it says in the world of duality, that is to say, in the material world, so-called goodness and badness are both the same. Therefore, in this world, to distinguish between good and bad, happiness and distress is meaningless because they are both mental concoctions, manodharma. Because everything here is miserable and troublesome. To create an artificial situation and pretend it to be full of happiness is simply illusion. The liberated person, being above the influence of the three modes of material nature, is unaffected by such dualities in all circumstances. He remains Krishna conscious by tolerating so-called happiness and distress. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Matras prasasta konteya sitosna sukadukadaha agama payano nityas tam satikshasva bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O Skinavarta, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Now, see, that's very important. In life, there's always going to be ups and downs. We must learn to tolerate by remaining always steady in devotional service and not wavering, always being steady in devotional service. Then sometimes there's success, sometimes there's failure, but the devotee is not in any way disturbed by these things because he knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, by remaining steady in the devotional service of the Lord, all situations can be tolerated if one has this love and devotion for Krishna and is steady in devotional service. So that's what we should learn today. To be very, very dedicated to engaging in devotional service to Krishna and not being disturbed by any ups and downs in the material world. Then we will be qualified to go back to Godhead.
There you go.
All glories to Srila
Love.
Prabhupada Ki Jai. That's why Prabhupada writes here, he says, happiness and distress come and go. Therefore, a pandita, a learned man, is not concerned with them. As it is said, Gatasum agatasums cha nanasuchandi pandita. The body is dead from the very beginning because it is a lump of matter. It has no feelings of happiness and distress. Because the soul within the body is in the bodily concept of life, He suffers happiness and distress. But these come and go. It is understood herewith that the kings born in the dynasty of Mithila were all liberated persons, unaffected by the so-called happiness and distress of this world. There it is. We have to learn how to be steady in our devotional service, whether we're successful or not successful. Doesn't matter. What matters is steadily continuing in devotional service and worshiping the deity in a regulated way, and always engaging in chanting our rounds every day. 16 good rounds. Of course, 16 is the minimum. There's no maximum. So that is the way to become free from all the dualities of the material world, by being steady in our devotional service, regardless of what it is. It might be washing washing the pots and pans. Actually, that's an exalted thing to do. You're washing the pots and pans of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we realize these things, these possibilities of serving the Lord, we don't say, "Oh, well, no, I don't want to wash any dishes. I want to be a pundit." No, the dishwasher in Krishna consciousness is a pundit, because he's doing this for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear devotees. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
The key.
May you all be happy and deeply dedicated to serving Krishna with love and devotion. Harivilas. All glory to
Krishna
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada.
ki Our pot washing team will be very happy to hear this one, that they are Panditas.
Oh, yeah. They're very, very exalted devotees. They are able to wash the dishes of the Lord. That's so profound. It's very advanced. Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.